Hello, good morning, and hello, and welcome to this, A Thing in a New Place. So, my friend a few years ago introduced me to GOAT format, and when I say introduces me, I meant said, let's play the same Yu-Gi-Oh! We played in high school, and I went, okay. So I slammed down my Lich deck, and he said, you can't play that, and I went, what? I can't play Lich? What do I do? So, I've built Lich. I say there's a Lich equivalent in GOAT, and that's what I'm going to show you today.
Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this.
We are going to go full Gravekeeper here. Let's do this. So, first of all, Respy. This is one of the most important cards of the deck. Firstly, it's thick. It's got a 2k booty. It goes up to 2/5 when Necro Valley is on the field. If you flip someone, it e-tallies another Gravekeeper from deck. Quite good for generating advantage. 3, Gravekeeper Spear Soldier. This is 1500 attack, but with Necro Valley on the field, it goes up to 2k, so it's pretty big. It also inflicts piercing damage, so it's good for getting those jabs in and start whittling down your opponent's life points. 2 Gravekeeper's Guard. This is a compulse, so if it flip summons, it can bounce a monster back to your opponent's hand, which is quite useful. Also quite a big booty, 2/4 with Necro Valley on the field. 2 Gravekeeper Assailants. This is also becomes a 2k beta, which is very useful, especially in GOAT format. And his effect is if Necro Valley is face up on the field, when it attacks, it can change the battle position of a monster. So you can use it to get over certain big monsters that have a smaller defense by making them switch to defense when you attack, or you can use it to switch defense position monster into attack so that you're able to destroy it and do damage to your opponent's life points. It's quite nice. Mystic Tomato, again, another staple in GOAT format decks. It's just nice. Special summons any 1500 Dark Monster from deck, which is what all of your Gravekeepers are. They're all less than 15. Well, they're all 1500 or less, because it goes off the original attack, not the attack when it's enhanced by Necro Valley. Sangan is very similar, very much the same thing. Adds it to your hand, so it's just a way to generate advantage, keep things flowing. And the last of the monsters in the main deck is Breaker the Magical Warrior, because every deck has to play Breaker. Again, it gets to 1900 when you first summon it, which is nice and big, and it gets rid of problematic back row for you if you want it to spare MST, in case you need that. So, that's your monsters. Spells, as I've mentioned a few times, Necro Valley. It's very good. It basically shuts off Chaos decks, which are the most annoying decks to play against in the format, because you cannot move cards from the graveyard, so you cannot banish them, you cannot reborn them, you cannot add them back to hand. It just turns it all off, and then it makes all of your Gravekeepers bigger, which is also nice. It's so nice, you want to see it lots, so you play 3 Terraforming, because 3 Terraforming is still legal at this point. So we like that. Give me Necro Valley. Let me make you sad. Book of Moon. It's a good defensive card. Stops your opponent from doing something scary, like attacking you. Pot of Greed, mystery. Again, I like the artwork, no idea what the card does. Graceful Charity, draw 3, discard 2. Again, just card advantage. You can't say no to that. Mystical Space Typhoon. Again, get rid of back row. We don't like it. Snatch Steal. Steal an opponent's monster, they get life points out of it, but you get a monster out of it. It's a fair trade. There's also an interaction with Book of Moon with this. If you Book of Moon the monster that you have Snatch Sealed, then it's no longer attached to the Snatch Steal and stays in your possession. So when you flip someone at the next turn, the opponent no longer gains the life points, and if the Snatch Steal is destroyed or removed from the field, it does not remove the monster from the field. Heavy Storm, again, it gets rid of back row. This is a very back row heavy deck, so you need to be careful with this one because it does destroy your back row as well, but it's good if you go in second to sort of clear the way. Delinquent Duo is another nice one. Pay 1000 life points. You discard a random card from your opponent's hand. If your opponent still has cards in their hand, they then have to discard one of their choice, so it rips 2. Very nice card. And then we will move on to the traps. Bottomless Trap Hole. Your opponent spends the resources to get a BLS on field, and you just say, no, that can be banished, please. Yeah, anything with 1500 or more attack, it just banishes it, which is good. Torrential Tribute, just if your opponent summons, it clears field, both fields. So again, don't use it if you've got a big field, but it can get you out of some awful situations, as can Mirror Force. If your opponent has a large field, try and attack you, say no, make them not do that. Rite of Spirit is a monster reborn that specifically says it works under Necro Valley, so that's good, because, you know, special summoning from the graveyard is useful. Again, just generates use of advantage. Ring of Destruction, it's good for as an OTK enabler. Destroys a monster on field and then does that amount of damage to your opponent and then to you. It's not simultaneous in this format, so that is very useful. Sakuretsu Armor, it's like a small Mirror Force, destroys a monster that tries to attack you. Again, can get you out of some sticky situations. Compulsory Evacuation Device, again, it's good defensively and it's quite good offensively. If there's a card in the way, you can get it out of the way so you can hit your opponent. If your opponent's trying to hit you, make the card go away. We play 2 Spell Shield type 8. It has 2 effects. You play it mostly for the second one, which is if a spell card is activated, discard a spell card from your hand to negate the effects, which is very good to stop your opponent from trying to destroy your back row or Necro Valley, because we like having both of those on field. The first effect is also used occasionally, which is, yeah, just negates a spell card that designates a target on the field. That comes up occasionally, which is quite nice. And then the last thing to main out the main deck is 3 Solemn Judgments, because it's good to say no. It's very good to say no. This is very much a back row heavy control deck. You need Necro Valley to stay up as long as you can keep it up, so your opponent doesn't then have access to the graveyard, especially if you're against Chaos. So it's just a good way to insulate against that stuff. So the extra deck, there is none. We don't need one. We're too Chad. So we'll just move straight to the side. Nobleman of Crossout. I keep having to argue why this is not main decked, because Spy is used in quite a lot of decks because it is just a good booty. She's thick. So if your opponent sets it and then you knock it, you are then also stuck having to banish your own spies, which really hurts the deck. It's not good, but knock is such a good card. Have it in the side, so once you've sort of got a feel for what your opponent is playing, you can sort of assess whether it's worth the risk. Single Mind Control, gets the monster out of the way so you can attack easier. Jinzo, again, a controversial one. Occasionally you're against a stun deck that's more stunning than yours and you're just annoyed and you just want traps to not be a thing, even if it does mean turning off your own as well. A third Gravekeeper's Assailant. Sometimes you just need a little bit more gas, so just another 2k to put in. 3 Dust Tornado, again, if you're playing against a stun deck, I don't want to. Just gets rid of back row. Allows you to set from your hand as well during your own turn. Not very useful in GOAT typically, but it is there. 3 Royal Oppression. We don't special summon very often, if at all, so having a card that allows us to just pay 800 and say no to special summons is very useful. Again, if you're against Chaos and they've outed your Necro Valley, this is kind of the second best thing you've got access to. Your opponent can use it against you even if it's on your side of the field, but again, I think the only way you special summon in this is from Rite of Spirit, so you're fine. And then lastly, to round off the side deck, is 3 Trapdoor Shoot. If your opponent has 4 or more cards in their hand, you can flip this, look at their hand. If there's any monsters, you can shuffle one of the monsters back to their deck, which again, very useful to... There's a reason why all these cards are banned now, because card advantage is useful even in the GOAT format. It's a very resource intensive game, GOAT. So when you play Lich in the modern build, in modern decks, I just set everything you have in your hand, because either that's going to be enough to stop your opponent, or they're going to blow it out. And if they blow it out, you're going to lose regardless. There's no point in keeping things in your hand, in my opinion. Whereas in GOAT, it's a much different story, because OTKs are rarer, so be more conservative with your resources. So if you get dusted, not dusted, sorry, that's illegal, heavy stormed, and lose everything you've set, you've still got something in your hand and you will probably survive till the next turn. Unless they're playing Cyberstein OTK, which you should watch a video of, because that's also a fun deck. But for now, I believe that's all I've got for you. So that is Gravekeeper. Again, if you like playing stun, this is the one for you. Or Thousand Eyes, but everyone plays Thousand Eyes. Be a Chad. Play Gravekeeper instead. It's better. Trust me. Yeah, that'll be me. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Hit the bell, tell your friends. Start a circle jerk with them. Come on a biscuit. Whoever comes last eats the biscuit. Thank you.